live yet? I don't know. I don't care if Monday's blue, Tuesday's gray and Wednesday too. Thursday, I don't care about you. It's Friday, I'm in love. Alright, well, I could keep playing, but I'm gonna keep you from that. That's not why you're here. You are here to get crafty. Welcome, everyone, to our Friday craft hunt. We are live with the Greenville Center for Creative Arts. I'm Grant. I'm the director of ReCraft Creative Reuse Center. We connect creative people like you with reusable materials. And in this case, we're going to use all materials that you can find right there in your home. In fact, your home is filled with really awesome materials. If you're just joining us for the craft hunt and you didn't get the list in advance, let's look at what you should go very quickly around your house and find. So we've got, first of all, we asked you to find one big, crusty white t-shirt. And we have exactly that right here. Dapper Inc. is an awesome company. They're a local t-shirt manufacturer, and the shirt is lovely, except that I got some like raspberry stain on it. I don't know if you see that. Got some mud. I don't even know what that is, but it's time to retire this white t-shirt. I hope you were able to find a really crusty and unwearable shirt as well. The next thing I asked everyone to find was hopefully a really colorful shirt. So it can either be this one, I don't know, some kind of camp. Definitely not as cool as GCCA summer camps, but a perfectly usable t-shirt. I'm never going to wear this thing, but it'll be perfect for our craft. So those were the first two things. The next couple things I asked you to find. First, two funny flat shapes. Now, the two funny flat shapes about the size of your hand that I found were one, this is a perpetual calendar. This is a calendar that lasts 28 years. You just like adjust this wheel here. Did you know that our calendar like renews every 28 years? So 1992 is the same as 2020, the same as 2048, and this calendar does it all. Anyway, it just has a nice round shape, and it's got a little ridge on it. I thought that was nice. The other funny flat shape that I found, relatively flat, is this robot that somebody made me. Isn't that awesome? And I'm going to use this as a silhouette. If you haven't guessed yet, we're going to use these funny flat shapes as stencils. Yes. I also asked you to find an unfunny flat shape. To be precise, something with a straight edge, about a half a foot long. I'm using for that one of my very favorite books. It's The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. This book basically says, if you don't love it, you should hug it, say thank you, and set it free. And it's all about tidying up. And when you're ready to tidy up, give all those things that you are no longer ready to love back to ReCraft, and we can use all of your crafting materials. So if you haven't gathered these things already, go ahead and gather them together. Couple tools as well. We're going to use one dark, thick marker. I'm probably going to use this really fat Sharpie here, just so that everybody can see my lines a little bit better. The other thing is scissors. Parents, if you're listening into this, you want something that can cut through t-shirts. We are going to do the cutting. We're going to try to save it to the very end. So you're not going to have to be standing there and helping the whole time. In fact, we would prefer if you just go away, leave us alone. We're not going to need your help for a little while. So thank you anyway. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you to Greenville Center for Creative Arts to give us this opportunity to fulfill our mission of promoting creative reuse in the upstate. Creative reuse is a form of art. I am a found artist, I would call myself. Creative reuse, though, is not the art of perfection. Creative reuse is the art of resourcefulness, finding quick and unique ways to solve a problem or a challenge. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. Our challenge is, how are we going to make crafts without having Greenville Center for Creative Arts open on this wonderful first Friday. How are we going to do it without ReCraft bringing a whole van full of cool, unique materials? Well, you're going to feed yourselves. You're going to find stuff from your home. And has anybody guessed yet, by the way? We're going to, about the craft we're going to make, we want this to be very interactive, okay, about what we're doing. First of all, there's going to be prizes, okay? So we've got a couple prizes for you. And I don't mean some shout out online. I mean, these are $2 stamps, all right? Enough postage to send you a nice little care package to your house. A real IRL prize coming to a couple folks' houses. We want this to be interactive. So if it is your birthday, I plan on singing happy birthday to somebody, the first person to write about that in the comments, although I'm not sure I can see the comments. Something about me. This is my very first Facebook Live, so bear with me. I hope I'm doing it right. Yeah. All right. Prizes, interactive stuff. Tell us if it's your birthday. Write comments to us. We also want to see parents, if you are hovering, we would love to see pictures of both the creative process and also the final product. And that's how to get your prizes. We'll talk more about that in a little while. I told you about my philosophy of creative reuse. You have everything you need right there in your house to make t-shirt banners. This is a really cool bunting. It can get complicated. It can get as complicated as you want it to be, but it's also super simple and accessible for anybody to make using these basic materials from your art hunt today. So this is what we're going to be making. You can hang it over a doorway, in your front window, all kinds of things. Something to brighten your day and your life with a little bit of color, and other people can see it as well. If you were fortunate enough to be at GCCA back in January, we actually did something very similar with some really nice, like professional grade upholstery samples. Well, you probably don't have this sitting around your house. And guess what? All my cool stuff is at the ReCraft workshop. I don't have access to it either. I'm here in my house. In fact, I'm in my closet. This is literally my craft closet that I'm sitting in. I was born in Atlanta. It's a little bit warm in this room, so bear with me. But we're going to have a little bit of fun for the next few minutes. Okay, so the way this is going to work is I'm going to run you through like just a lightning round of the key steps. There's about 5 key steps in this project. Just follow along. Use your brain. Use your eyes. I'm just going to show you really quickly what we're doing so that you'll know where we're going and how this is going to develop from your materials at home. And then I'm actually going to get in the trenches with you. I'm actually going to make this banner, and I'm going to make one that I'm going to hang up over my kitchen doorway so that it will remind me of all our awesome friends out there in the world. Okay, if you do fall behind at any step, don't worry, it's totally okay. Try to keep up with the basic step that we're at. Like, so if we're using the markers to like draw your designs, just draw the basic design. It's fine to come back later. All of this can be done in steps and in pieces. So don't worry if you fall behind. Most of our activities at GCCA tend to be very drop-in. This one's a little bit more directed. So lightning round. The very first thing we're going to do is you're going to draw lines on your t-shirt. You're going to turn your t-shirt upside down, and I'm going to do all this so that it's facing you guys. You're going to use your very unfunny stencil simply as a measuring device here. So this is, I don't know, 5 inches-ish. That's going to be the size of these square flags. So they're going to be 5 inches tall, and I drew a line this way, and they're also going to be 5 inches wide. And I'm going to draw a line this way, and this way, and this way. After you use your unfunny stencil, then you can use your more fun stencil to draw on every other flag. So this particular shirt yields me 6 flags. That means I'm going to get 3 flags to draw on. There will also be a back side. So when you're done, if you want to make other stuff on the back, that's cool too. Once all that's done, and you can take as long as you want to draw these shapes and everything, or designs. I'm going to move that back a little bit. There we go. Then you're going to cut along those lines you made. the main thing to remember when you're cutting is you don't want to cut this upper seam. This upper seam is what's going to keep your flags together, right? If you do accidentally cut through that bottom seam of your t-shirt, which is going to be the top seam of your flag banner, if you do that, don't worry. That's what staplers are for, all right? We'll figure it out. Ask me in the comments if you have any questions or problems like that. Also, don't worry if your two t-shirts are not quite the right size. That's totally okay. There's like this overage piece right here, and you're going to use that to hang the banner. So it's totally okay if the t-shirts aren't the same size, because all your flags are going to be the same size, thanks to your very unfunny stencil. Thank you, Marie Kondo. All right. With that, oh, and then I'm going to show you how to assemble them. Basically, you're going to take the colored t-shirt, put it down, it's cut up. There's a little bit of folding involved. Put your white t-shirt over it, a little bit of folding involved. Again, if you want to use a stapler, very handy. That wasn't on your list. And then you just hang it up using some tacks or whatever else your parents have approved for you to hang it up with. So with that, I am going to start on my craft project. Let's take this awesome Dapper Ink shirt. Now, here it is right side up. I'm going to do this whole project upside down so that it's a little easier for you. But you also are going to take your shirt and turn it upside down. So that is the first step. You're going to hold it from the bottom seam. All right. Nice and flat. All right. I'm going to lay mine out a little backwards. Yours should be facing you. All right. Get it nice and flat. That's fine. And you're going to start from this left edge over here. All right. So this is my right edge, but you're turned around. So you should start from this left edge and think about it as like you're reading and writing left to right. So you're going to start over here. So again, we're going to take our straight edge here. I'm going to take my marker. And thankfully, this book has two straight edges. Look at that. But even if you didn't have that, you could just kind of mark it like this along the top to get the right height, okay? Or if you are fortunate enough to have two straight edges, you can go all the way across. Now, if you want a super professional flag banner and you don't want those marks to be seen, well, then you could do it with like a crayon or something like that. But we are not going for perfection. We are going for resourcefulness, and we are being super crafty and resourceful today. So next, you're going to take it the other way. Again, so just as it's this high, these flags, it's going to be this wide. All right, I'm going to use this straight edge here, and we're going to do that a few times. All right. Everybody with me so far? Now I want to remind you, you do not want to cut this top seam. And so I'm going to draw little X's right here just to remind myself. Yes, they will be visible on my final product. If I wanted to do this again and I wanted to do it like a super A+ job, I would just make sure that I didn't have that line marked. You do not want to cut above that seam right there, okay? All right. The other thing is, look what I've got here. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I've got this last little overage here. There's not quite enough for another flag. Now, could we flip it over and get a 7th flag? Yes, we could. We're not going to do that. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to draw a line along this top seam. That's a cut line. These are all cut lines that we're drawing, okay? And draw a big X on that square just so you don't confuse yourself. And your shirt should look something like this right now. Yeah? Awesome. All right. You could also do this on the back, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. You don't need to do that, but I'm going to do that just in case any of you are catching up. All right. Don't need to do this because your white t-shirt is probably thin enough you can see that line through it anyway. Okay. And if you cut this right, you won't even need these lines on the back anyway. All right. Now, we are going to do exactly this to the colored t-shirt, but we're not going to do that till a little bit later, so don't worry about that. right now. Again, if you're ahead right now, feel free to go ahead and do this to your colored shirt. If you're just with me, then perfect. I'm going to use this awesome robot dude. There are a couple ways to do this. You're going to make 3 drawings with one of your patterns. You're only going to use one of your funny patterns. Or you could use both of them, or you could use 3. I'm going to just use one, and I'm going to do a repeating shape. So you could do a repeating shape. You could do a repeating shape with variations, which is kind of like what I was doing here on my flag banner. These are all circles using this stencil, but they're like slightly different kind of mandala designs. All right. So I'm going to use this robot guy. I'm going to lay him down here on my flag. And I'm going to kind of go around the edge of his body. And he's a little big. So as you're doing this, if you're like, you know, those funny flat shapes that I wanted to use, maybe they're a little too big for these flags. You can either do 2 things. You can either go find a different stencil that's a little smaller, or next time you do this, you could find a different straight edge that's a little bit bigger, and your flags will be bigger, so it'll fit your robot guy on it. So there's my basic robot guy there. I'm going to do the same one here. And again, this is going to be repeating. And I think I am thinking I'm going to maybe make some slight variation to these each so that they're not all exactly the same. But for the most part, they're going to be the same. Oh, man. All right. How's it going? I would love to see your comments, any pictures you have, anything like that. I'm also going to go ahead and there we go. I'm going to just fill in his head here. All right. And again, this is kind of a complicated thing. I'm probably going to end up doing some more complex patterns here, but for right now, this is good. I just want to show you how I'm doing this, and then I can always fill in and do some detail work later. All right, so now this is what your front should look like, right? So you got full flag with pattern, empty flag, full flag with pattern, and then a little bit left over with a little bit of a string tag here, right? Okay, so you got that? And we're just going to turn this over, okay? Now, on the back, you may be able to see those lines from the flags on the other side, or you may need to draw some lines like me. Either way, it's okay. And now you're going to, 1, 2, 3, you're going to draw in the middle or the second flag. Another little, in my case, robot dude. Yeah. All right, how are we doing out there? Hope you are having fun on this Friday afternoon. I don't know what school is like. It's been a while since I've been in school. And my son, who's sleeping in the next room over, is too young for real school. So, yeah, are you guys like over-programmed? Is it too much? You know, if it is, these Facebook Live sessions, obviously you can tune in if you want to be part of the like hip crowd. And hopefully, you know, art is a really nice way to relax. Art relaxes me. Doing this relaxes me. But if for you, it's a little bit stressful, if you'd rather just like zone out and do this on a Saturday morning, all of these videos will be available on ReCraft's social media, Facebook, as well as Greenville Center for Creative Arts. And their hashtag or their username is at ArtCenterGVL, as in Greenville. Ours, of course, is ReCraft GVL. All right, let's flip this guy back around. Now we're going to use the scissors to go over those cut lines. So this is where parents, you may need to get involved or not. We have a special word at ReCraft for when parents try to do their kids' crafts for them. And we call that Adulteration. Because the most creative people we know tend to be the youngest people we know. I don't know why us adults like forget how to be creative, but we do. Right now, I'm going to turn this around so it faces me because it's easier to cut. Remember, I do not want to cut these top seams, okay? And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to cut up just to the seam. You've got a double seam probably on your shirt. Don't cut past that second line. If you do, it's stapler time, all right? You haven't ruined it. Now, here's your shirt. That's the back. That's the front. It's all together still. Perfect. Keep it together. If you can, try to go through both layers of t-shirt at the same time. It'll make sure your flags are exactly the same size. If you can't and you need to do the back first and the front second, or vice versa, that's okay. All right? Everybody basically keeping up? Again, you can do some more drawing later if you need. This is a pretty critical step. And if you're not cutting as fast as I can cut, I've had a little bit more experience. That's okay too. So long as your lines are there, you're going to figure it out. And you can watch this video later. It is being recorded. So now, you've probably figured out by now, there's actually one more line we need to make that's not marked on my fabric flag banner. And that is this edge right here, this seam. Because look, we got two flags, right? So you can do this one of two ways. I prefer just coming up the side while it's still together. Hold it down with this hand and cut like this, right along that seam. The other way to do it is go ahead and open it up. All right. And if it's still got that crease, you can cut it right there. And likewise, we actually have to do that on the other side as well. I forgot to do this part. Oops. That's okay. There's no mistakes here. That's the best part of creative reuse and just getting crafty is any little mistake you think that you've made just becomes part of the final product. So now, there is our banner. Now, if it's dinner time or it's a pretty beautiful day outside, if you're like, I'm done, that's fine. That's totally fine. You can be done right now. But if you really want to take this to the next level, I'm going to show you how. One last thing before we get rid of this white t-shirt. Here we got this really beautiful, nice white t-shirt. You can actually use this for other crafts. It is now the perfect size, as in the bottom's cut off, to make a reusable shopping bag. You can find the directions for that on our YouTube channel. You can also use cotton fabric and all kinds of t-shirt fabric for other very interesting craft projects that are timely right now. So keep that shirt. You never know what you're going to use it for. All right, so very quickly, I'm going to do the same thing to this red one, just the cuts. You're not going to be making any designs on this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to measure across the top. Again, I know this is going to be exactly the same height and width as my white flags because I'm using this very unfunny but enjoyable book. All right, 1, 2. So long as you're using that same straight edge, all your flags are going to line up. Make it easy on yourself. In carpentry, that's sometimes called using a jig. So it's like the same shape. It's basically like a stencil, and it guides your process so that like the human brain doesn't mess it up. Okay, so we're going to just cut this. Again, no patterns on these. Some of you superstars, you know who you are. You're going to want to decorate these later on. I know you are. That's fine. That's fine. That sounds cool. Can't wait to see those final products. I mentioned some prizes. I should have mentioned this a little bit before, but the stencils that you use, that is one of our prizes. So what I want to see is a picture of your final product and the stencil that you use, kind of like that. If you want to be in the picture, A+. If you don't want to be in the picture, cool too. But I want to see the stencil you used and the shape that it made and then what you did with that shape, or that was your starting point. That right there, I'm going to pick my favorite one that appears in the comments. I'm going to let this go through the weekend, and you're going to get a real live prize. It will not be alive. It will be a very not alive prize in the mail. But it will be a real prize from the stockade of ReCraft materials that we have. All right, where were we? Ah, yes. Save that top of the shirt. Perfect for making a reusable shopping bag. All right, and again, I'm going to turn this around toward me just for cutting. All right, but I'm going to cut along the black lines we've made. The 2 lines we actually did not make are at the seams, at the edges. So I'm just going to snip that. I'm going to snip over here, only up to the seam. Okay, I'm going to hold on to that seam. That's what's going to keep all these together. If you were with us in January, we use little brass, I don't know what they are, little brass tacks to put the fabric together, and they worked really well. But surprisingly, I mean, fewer and fewer people have those in their house. So I'm just going to cut this all the way up to the top, make sure it's good. Perfect. Okay. All right. Now, we did the cutting. We are on to assembling. This is the final step, guys. We're on the home stretch. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Oh, yeah. How we doing? All right. And we are at the 25-minute mark. Okay. All right. All right. Quick. We're going to take your colored banner, all right? And you're going to fold up every other flag. So that's the first one, the third one, and the 5th one. And then you're going to take your white fabric like so, and you're going to lay it down as carefully as you can onto that red one. Don't worry, it's going to wiggle around. Don't worry about it. That's fine. It happens. Okay. Okay, nice and straight. We'll get these nice and straight too. Mainly, you want to make sure that the 2 seams line up at the top. If the seams line up, the rest of it's going to line up too. All right, you with me? Now, you're going to fold those red ones back over. That's going to cause this top seam to twist a little bit, and that's totally fine. That's just kind of what it's going to be and what it's going to look like. All right. Now, oh, this is going to look gorgeous. Gorgeous. Do I have a couple tacks somewhere? Guys, I didn't bring any tacks. Oops. Let's just say that we tacked it right here. How about that? Use a staple. If you want, this is definitely a really great way to do it. Once your seams are nicely lined up and the flags are perfectly like over each other, at least to your liking, I really do like throwing one staple up here in the top seam. That's just going to keep those 2 flags together when the wind moves it around, or your little brother bumps into it, or you're taking it like you want to hang it above your door today, and then next week after you've maybe colored on it some more and finished your designs, maybe you're like, now I'm really proud of it. I want to put it on my front door or my front window so that all my neighbors can see it. So a couple staples are going to help you do that. Not necessary, but very helpful. Something else that I want to point out is now we have, look at that, Team Robot. In fact, I now know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do Team Robot on this side, and I don't know how I'm going to draw it yet, but I'm going to draw some like monkey shapes, maybe from like a monkey in a barrel on the other side. So I'm going to have Team Monkey, and I'm going to have Team Robot, and depending on whether you're walking into a room or not, you'll see like monkeys or robots. So that's my idea. I'd love to get any ideas that you have for what you're going to do. That is our project today, guys. Great job. A few last things. And there's another prize I need to tell you about. Okay. Number 1, your parents' markers, your parents' stapler, whatever cool funny shapes you found from wherever you found them. It's time to clean up, put them back so that they are exactly where they should be. And so that next week, are we going to do this again? Next week, next month? You guys want to do this? Let me know, because this is fun, and I have nothing better to do than sit in my closet and make crafts. This is fun for me on a Friday afternoon. All right, so put all that stuff back where it goes. Book on the bookshelf. You may need someone's help and a chair and some tacks or whatever, nails, tape, to hang your banner above a door. But if you did this right, your banner, size of a t-shirt, is going to look just gorgeous above a normal door or a window. All right, so clean up, put it back. Do you want to do it again? I'd love to know. One of the prizes, as I said, is I want to see what stencil you used, what funny flat shape you used, and what you made with it. The other prize, this is totally at my discretion, is I want to see your final product. And I'm just going to kind of pick like best in show. That doesn't necessarily mean the highest quality. It's just the one that brings me the most joy to look at. So take a really happy picture of your banner hung up. I'd love to see it. And I will be sending you something in the mail. Art summer camp. I probably should have plugged this earlier, but I'll plug it next time. I want to read this one thing to you. This is a little poem called Go Make That Stuff. The manifesto is this: make the art you want to see. Start the club you want to join. Play the music you want to hear. Write the story you want to read. Build the things you want to use. Do the work that you would like to see done. Go make that stuff. And with that, I'm going to sing happy birthday to my dad, Skip. Actually, I still can't read the comments. I'm so sorry if you guys have sent me birthday things. We'll get you later. But it was my dad's birthday. He was born on April 2nd. He says that he is almost a fool. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Skip. Happy birthday to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, GCCA. Shout out to Dapper Inc. for these cool t-shirts. And thank you, all of you, for being at home, sticking it out, and had a great time. See you next time.